Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Mrs. Olayinka Ojo, and I am the lecturer that will be taking you anatomy and physiology of farm animals in 201. Today, I would like to do an introduction of this course, which will take us into the depths of the significance of anatomy and physiology, as well as how we can apply it to our daily activities as animal scientists, as trained animal scientists. Yes, the big words in this course or in this course title, anatomy and physiology of farm animals, are the word anatomy. Then we can also pick the word physiology. Then we can pick the word farm animals. Okay, let's start with anatomy. What is anatomy? Yes, anatomy can be defined as the study of the structures of animals. I mean, how the parts of the animals look like when you study the structure or the frame of particular animals. Physiology also has to do with the study of the functions of those parts we have studied in anatomy. That is, the study of how those parts we have studied in anatomy, what do they do? How do they relate? Is it synergistically or antagonically? So we study these two together to make it a particular and understandable course. Farm animals relate to domestic animals, majorly cattle, pigs, chickens or poultry generally, which involves broilers, laying chicken, turkey, geese, and so on and so forth. So we also refer to small ruminants such as goats and sheep of different species. We talk about rabbits, and we talk about cane rats is another animal that we also study generally. So we have subunits of anatomy. We have gross anatomy. If you want to study a particular animal, want to study animal into detail, we need to do uh, in-depth study, which has to do with going into the gross anatomy, that's macroscopic anatomy. That is the study of the parts of such an animal in a macroscopic way. That is, we don't need any aided eye. We just study this as it is, what you can see, we check it, we relate to the functions, that is the physiology, and it helps us to understand how the whole body of a multicellular organism works. Now, gross anatomy has to do with dissection of a whole animal. In dissection, the animal has to be embalmed, so it can be used efficiently without putrefying for studying. Then sometimes we need to color those parts of the animal to enhance easy identification. Then we check the shape, we check the texture, then how this relates to the other part of the animal using unaided eye, that is the normal physical eye. Then we talk about microscopic anatomy. Microscopic anatomy has to do with studying specific structures which cannot be seen with the naked eye. That is, we need a microscope. What did I call it? A microscope. Okay, so we talk about preparing tissues. For example, if you want to study the tissues of the muscle, how the muscle looks like using the microscope, we have to cut a very thin layer of the muscle and then prepare the slide, and then place it on a microscope to check how the structures look like with a microscope. Then we also talk about comparative anatomy. What did I call it? Comparative anatomy. From the word comparative anatomy, we mean we need to compare, make comparison between a part, the way a part looks like, that is the structure or the form of a part in relation to another part. So this has to do with laying particular emphasis on the classification of a part. So we talk about, maybe we are talking kidney. How does the nephron, that is the small parts or the small structure of a kidney, which is called nephron, how does it look like? Okay, let's compare with the cardiocytes. which are the small parts of the heart. Okay, how does it look like? Is there a similarity? Are there changes or differences in them? Another study under anatomy has to do with embryology. What did I call it? Embryology. From the word embryology, we can pick embryo. And what is embryo? A developing living organism in the uterus of a pregnant female animal. Now, embryology has to do with the study of the developmental anatomy. That is, from the stage of fertilization after fertility, that is the union of the male and female gametes. What are the changes you will notice from the onset till maturity, when the animal will experience expulsion of the developed fetus, that is parturition? What are the changes you will notice from day one to the mature stage, after during pregnancy? This is called stage by stage developmental anatomy, known as embryology. So embryology covers the period from conception, that is from of the egg, till birth. What did I call it? It covers the period of development from the period of conception till birth. Now, another physiology that we can talk about is ultrastructural cytology. What did I call it? Ultrastructural cytology. From this word, we can pick cytology. Cytology means the study of cells. It is a most recent study of anatomy, which has to do with the study of some portions of the cells and the tissues as they are visualized with the aid of an electron microscope. What did I call it? Electron microscope. Electron microscope is not an ordinary microscope. It's a specialized microscope which is needed to study in-depth portions of the cells of an organism to discover maybe there's a mutation, or in one part or the other, to study the root problem of a particular disease, or study a particular portion of the cell. So we also talk about other means of studying anatomy, which is called systemic anatomy. Again, what did I call it? Systemic anatomy. Systemic anatomy has to do with the study of the systems of the body. But when you put a particular word, a particular system of the body, you add the word ology. An example is osteology. What did I call it? Osteology. Osteology has to do with the study of skeletal systems. By the time you see osteo, means bones. Ology means the study of bones. So, and that is a part of systemic, and that is the system, skeletal system. So we add ology, which is osteology, not say skeletology, but we call it osteology. Then myology. Myology is another segment of systemic anatomy that has to do with the study of muscular systems. We call it myology. Then we know endocrinology. Endocrinology has to do with the study of endocrine glands. That is, glands that produces some substances, excreted substances, which the body needs to function properly. So endocrinology has to do with the study of endocrine glands. Then we talk about splanchology. Splanchology is a systemic anatomy which deals with the study of the GIT, that is the gastrointestinal tract, which starts from the mouth till the anus, where we can find the digestive, the respiratory, the reproductive system, all the internal organs. Majorly the internal organs, we call them the study, we term it as splanchology. What did I call it? Splanchology. Then we talk about neurology. I believe you can guess the systematic anatomy of the area we are talking about. Neurology has to do with the study of the nervous system. What did I call it? The study of nervous system, which has to do with the brain and the spinal cord and the nerves. So we talk about cardiology. Most of you know the system we are talking about. Cardiology has to do with the study of what? The circulatory system, including the heart and the vessels. Including the heart and the vessels. Yes, this is where this study will end today. If you have any question, feel free to ask me via WhatsApp or text message. I'll be willing to answer your questions. Till the next class, I say thank you for being attentive, and try and read more about this course, about this topic, and then you will get more information, and that will be good for all of us. Thank you for listening.